Hello, YouTube. And I guess this is just me being real. You know, I usually have, great mood or, lots of interesting news and theories and the promise of my own original music. But I'll be real with you. I mean, I've got a lot of insecurities. I do crapload of drugs. I mean, there's cigarettes, they're like socially acceptable. I swore myself off of drinking because of the last party I was at. I blacked out. Now, one person who hated me took advantage of that and beat the living shit out of me. Where did I wake up? Hospital gurney. Then, once I was all healed up and shit, psych ward. Yep. That's a band. How dare you name yourself after one of the most ludicrous treatments for problems ever? I saw this thing on the net called Bellevue Inside Out. And if any of these people were either alive or got the chance to view it, they'd feel exposed. More naked than naked. I mean, whether they're better or not. I've been in adolescent units. I've been in adult units. I live in Pittsburgh, so, the regular places. It's my lighter. Western Psych. It is so bare bones, it's not even funny. Visitation time is takes place in where you eat, like, the lunchroom, I guess you could call it. And all you can hear is everybody else talking. You really have to focus more on, your visitors than anything else. Because the sound just reverberates from... I mean, I know it's for privacy and stuff, but fuck, I have good hearing. And this ear is, like, dicey all the time because of allergies and shit. And if you leave for any reason, even to go to the motherfucking bathrooms, which are locked, half the people in there are going through withdrawal and bad shits, and bowel movements and urination are part of it, that, there's like a nurse right there, resident nurse. I was luckily convenient, that's even a term, that my resident nurse, was a real hot Latina. So, as far as, what I would do in my downtime, like when there wasn't, group or the 9 o'clock in the morning visit, from your psychiatrist, who should be fired. Mine should just be fired. I could literally only talk to his assistant, Dr. Yu, spelled Y-U-O or something, because she married a Korean dude. I don't know. That happened to another place. I was wearing a New York hat. It was a gray New York Yankees hat, and I'm not a fan of baseball. It's not like the Babe Ruth days. It's just not as much of an American pastime as football is now. I don't even like football. Yes, that's right. I'm an average American guy who doesn't like football. I kind of like basketball, but more street ball. I mean, you can do these crazy tricks. You can go all hot sauce on them, whatever. But, yeah, it was Western Psych. It's really fucking bare bones. If you've ever been there, you're from Pittsburgh and you've been there. Got a light. So, like I said, my resident nurse, Rosalind, I found out her last name is Sanchez. The logical deduction is it's a Latina-based thing. So we chatted it up, and I think if we were in a real-world scenario, go ahead and say, what is real? But whatever. I would probably be fucking her. That aside, like, the doctor that I had, Dr. Frank, I was doing things initially to get out. Like, I tripped pretty bad. Like, not LSD trip. I mean, like, I tripped, like, that 4th day I was there. And my leg was pretty sore. And I tried self-harming myself so I could get it down to the bone to get pain meds. And the resident doctor who they had to call, and it took like fucking 3 hours, which is just fucking ludicrous, said that I didn't even trip. And I understand they get a lot of like self-harm issues and stuff. And then they had an older dude who cut basically the shit out of his arms. And his goal for the day was to see if he could get pain meds off the doctor. The only person I knew who had pain meds was this guy named Frank. And he was a terminal cancer patient. I think, and then, like, right as I left, I was receiving news from a friend there. I mean, you basically make friends with whoever you can make friends with, or even chit-chat with, that he was being transferred to a cancer ward. And I'm like, you didn't do that in the beginning? And he described cancer as getting beat up every 5 minutes by a gang of people, using weapons, using their bare fists and feet. So, I mean, if he's still alive, then he's got a huge lawsuit to make. One guy made the best of the fucking month, that he was there prior to me coming, and he was writing a book. I remember one of the groups he shared part of the book. It was like the first chapter. Something about, his mom birthing like a really healthy child or something, wants some, a pint of moonshine or something like that. Moonshine. That's some serious old school shit. And I remember that the book, which is now done, was distributed through his church, but because of all that legal mumbo-jumbo, you can't give phone numbers or text numbers, or I don't even text. Shit like that. There was one kid I could instantly get along with, and that was, forget his name. I think it was Kevin. No, it wasn't Kevin. That actually leads me to something that, like, if you observe the system, and if there's a hiding place, you can do practically whatever you want. And if you're good at lying, then you'll get away with it. As long as it's not, like, something self-harm-ish. Because in some way, whether you do it on your arms or wherever, well, actually, the only people I knew in my course of psych wards and stuff and adolescent units would always hide it behind, like, those extra sleeves that were popular in, like, the early millennium or some shit. And, yeah, I was at one place, honestly, I was really fucking attracted to this one girl. So we would, talk pretty much every day. And then there's this little corner. And at that place, we were fortunate enough to go outside. I didn't smoke then, so I didn't, actually nobody smoked. The only thing I had related to a cigarette was chew tobacco. And you know, for nobody to find it, you had to swallow it. Ugh. That's like just swallowing a glass full of corrosive acid. It's horrible. Of course, I've had a couple friends who do dip, so whatever. Yeah, her eyes were crazy. Literally, like, crazy. She had these contacts that made them look, well, she had two. One that made the eyes look really wide, like you're on ecstasy or something. And one was actually like a design, kind of like a star. I don't know, we just hit it off like real quick. I kept trying to fake comfort this one Asian girl, you know, and hopefully it would do something. Interesting thing is that you know, I managed to get in bed with someone naked and just fool around, making out, you know, feeling each other. And then, in order, you know, to avoid the whole every 15, 20 minutes check thing, we switched beds, but we had already gotten off. I mean, I'm sorry, but, and I don't even remember the name of this place. I mean, if I could, and you're in that position where your, like, parents or whoever is thinking of putting you there, I would be like, the one where you can go outside, and the one where everybody played, like, racquetball like crazy. Well, not racquetball. It was like throwing it up against the wall and then seeing who can catch the ball and then repeat it. And then, you know, I was in that corner and just nobody was there, and I made out with this chick. Can't remember jack shit except for the crazy eyes. I would say it's alluring, but if she had regular contacts, it would be different. And I saw her with her glasses on, she has, you know, green eyes, not hazel. And the thing is, when I did fool around, you could only have 2 guys in a room, or 2 girls in a room. But still, it's like, what, nothing's gonna happen? Nobody's gay? Nobody's lesbian? Nobody fits in with that LGBT/Q, GLBT, /Q, you know, thing? I don't know, it's just, and for me, sure, I got what I could take. It was a dude. Supposedly his story was like he's on the run from the cops or some shit, so they had to keep moving him to different places, or he would sign in on his own to different places to get away from the cops. The story he gave me was very convoluted, and yeah, that was, I would say, my first genuine sexual encounter. And I'm a dude, it was with a dude, like I said, slim pickings. And just like jail, they have the jail with just guys and just women. I mean, if it was that girl, I would have tore her fucking pussy up. Oh man, imagine all the tags this thing will get on YouTube. Imagine if I get kicked off or get an infraction point, or whatever the hell those little marks are. You get 3, you're gone. 4. Oh my god. In fact, whoever's watching this, tell YouTube, give me 2 infraction points. And then I guess that'll convince me to make better videos, add effects and shit, and actually put the links in the bottom that I say I would. But as far as it goes, now, let's fast forward to just now, right? Because that's where we are. another thing, I was in an RTF for a few months, residential treatment facility. And it's weird how they have the rules. Okay, first of all, if you come in and they decide you're a level A, they decide you're a harm to yourself and others, and or others. And I came in on level A with Sharp's precaution. So, what do you know? You know, I didn't have an iPod, I had my CDs. Well, everybody did. iPods weren't as integrated into society. Whatevs. Yes, and I just said whatevs. And, let's see. I got sick one time I was there. I think it was a cold. Had to be a cold, because it got itself away real fast. But they told me to literally not leave the room unless I had to go to the bathroom. And I was a pretty good friend of a kid named Zach who had the adjacent bed. Now, this is different. It's nicer, like way nicer. You can go out, you know, have a cigarette, you know, play basketball, you know, climb a tree if you want. I mean, it's like they really don't care for your safety. They think, you know, you're mature enough. Yeah, and Zach always had a stack of books, shit ton of CDs, a stereo. And here's the thing. That was in 2005 when Revenge of the Sith hype was really high. So we all had our own little collection of lightsabers. So we were allowed to smack like those lightsabers, the plastic ones that when you pull the thing down, you can flick the blade out. We were allowed to like smash each other around with those. And here's the catch. He's a hemophiliac. He can bleed easy, and if it's not attended to, he can bleed to death. Great one. They had a policy about you couldn't share shit. Like, it was called lending and borrowing. I violated that, like, at least 25 times. Probably 32. There was this kid, Blake, and he just got out of Schumann. Fucking Schumann. So, yeah, he was as tough as he could get. And I had a brand new pair, size 10, white on white Air Force Ones. What happened? They got stolen. He's the only person who I can conceive of stealing them. So, Blake, if you know me, you know, from Glade Run, fucking Mikey C, and you took them, I will beat your fucking ass. Because not because I actually like the shoes now, but it's because of the monetary value they had, who they were from, and how much it costed the person. $150+ for shoes. I think my favorite pair, the Air Costin 1 on Nike, was like, what, 85 plus tax? And that's like a premium thing. I remember then he somehow magically had Blake's friend came there as well. And Jimmy, that's his name. And you know, they did something where everybody had to go to their room. And he just kept staring out the window and quote, "Well, I need something to masturbate to." Meanwhile, you couldn't even shake hands with a girl. Now, they blamed it on a lot of people having sexual related problems. But the first thing you do when you get there is have a session with your house's therapist. And I'm sure he ruled it. Mine was Lance, and I'm sure he ruled out, like, any sexual issues. Because, I mean, I wasn't even active at the time. well, saying it's masturbation, but that should and shouldn't count, so. Let's see. There was another Jimmy, and he was older than me, like 2 years, but he reminded me of me. And we got along really well. But like I said, with the girls and stuff, you couldn't hold their hand. You know, you had to write letters. Like you two were in a different country or something. And I completely fell in love with this girl named Rayleigh. Why I get the inclination her last name is Hayes, Hayes, or any variation of that, I have no idea. I got her phone number. Again, that's against the rules. You can't trade any data that would link you to another person. So, the last contact I had was that she's going to go to a hotel with another girlfriend and literally just, you know, take naughty pictures and shit. And I was like, yes! Because at that time, nothing like that happened in my life. I mean, that was when I first started wearing contacts. I remember, it was like, there was a level system. You know, A was like, you had like no privileges. B was like pretty average, as long as you're in staff site. C was even less. You didn't really need to be in staff site, but for a certain amount of time. Then I had a friend called Kevin, who was on D, and then there was some older dude who was on F, and that's like, do whatever you want, as long as it's not harmful to you or the place. And I remember, as far as that whole, you know, lightsaber battle thing, he was the only one doing it proper and not trying to copy the Star Wars movies, because he was an actual black belt, and he had proof of it. He, you know, displayed his back. You couldn't go into anybody else's room, but me and what I would like to call my crew did. And, you know, he put it up on the wall as a display. So, he was using real sword techniques, implemented with the faster, more fictional techniques of the Star Wars trilogy. Well, anthology, but it wasn't complete at that time. And I had some dickheads who saw episode 3, like 7 times behind us. They're all wearing, like, Attack of the Clone shirts and lightsabers on, you know, their belt buckle and shit. And, you know, they were yelling out just basically every spoiler you could probably think of. That was that. And they wanted to keep me an extra 2 weeks. But because school was starting, you know, we were able to get me into, like, a ghetto school. And, like I've said earlier, that's where I got introduced to weed. I mean, you know, I was curious. I mean, everybody can go drug-free completely and still be curious as to how this really is. What I mean by that is, like, literal window shopping. You know, you see something in a window, but you're blocked by the glass. I mean, I guess that's all for now. I guess I can make a part 2. Shit, part 10. If I want it, but I mean, I'd really have to make some kind of, you know, Santa's list and checking it twice or some shit. Because, oh, there's this one place, can't remember the name, but I remember one fucked up thing they did is put all the people there. It was a real small place, probably like 10 people max, and all their problems on a whiteboard with some Sharpie. You know, like, I remember there was a Claire, have no idea about her. Hell, at least we could go to a rec room and play, like, dodgeball and stuff. Another place would deem that, like, self-destructive and a good way to get the staff fired, whatever. And where was I? Yeah, they would put your problems on this fucking whiteboard. It wasn't huge, it was just real small. It was just probably so doctors could go past and check. Same with staff. And I remember Claire, it's like, hears and sees things that aren't really there. You know, gets nervous when this is talked about, blah, blah, blah. So that's paranoid schizophrenia. Just a basic shell of it. It's like, you know, taking off the cookie part of an Oreo, but not take the cream as well. In fact, there's no milk. You know, you don't add it to ice cream. I don't know. But, and I don't know whether it was the most important, like, per se, cases. Oh, wait, I was on that board. For self-harm. Thank God for the HIPAA laws. Basically, that provides you psychological and medicinal privacy. No one has to know. Unless it's like, you know, getting the fucking, like, FBI involved. Which is, like, something that I don't do. I'll be honest, I have violent tendencies. There are times when I don't want to sock, like, a fucking sock. Jesus Christ. What is this, the fucking 90s? That's fat, that's hard, that's tight, that's beastie, that's sick. When people use sick today. Fuck, dude, I live in Edgewood, man. I think beastie is exclusive to Edgewood. I've not heard it in the 90s and early millennium outside of Edgewood. Shoutouts to people who watch this. Oh man, this is gonna be kind of an awkward one. Charlie Lang. He knew, I mean, people gave his sister Maddie the nickname Hottie, because, dude, she was. Let's see. I live right down the street from a girl named Margaret Friedline, or Freeline, whatever the hell it is. And she used to not really be so attractive, so I'd talk to her to commune, you know, some stuff to her sister. But now, she's suddenly pretty hot. I know the people I'm not gonna get with. That's Drew Lewis's sister, or Emily Sismore. People seem to think Corey Drexler got with her. Now, if that's true, then Jesus Christ, man, you're a miracle worker. I always remember her by some scar thing on her head which looked like a splinter. Ironically, the day I was walking back from the local pool, before it turned to shit, I was thinking of, yeah, that is a good way to remember her. Jesus Christ, like, if I really had to do this, I wish I would fuck list. You know, there's definitely Alessandria Ambrioso, Kaylee Cuoco, Keely Hazel, natural. Keyword, natural 32E breast. But of course that can be ruled out in the sake that you could say, well, they're perfectly symmetrical. Dude, I would have to make an exception to my, no fake breast thing for Kaylee Cuoco and her. I could see myself having more fun with Kaylee Cuoco, though. Who else? Anne Hathaway. There's nothing wrong with being intelligent, and her intelligence is sexy, and now she's Catwoman, so that adds a little more. I'm not even a fan of DC Comics. Of course, I like Batman Begins, and The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises, the whole Nolan trilogy. I didn't know it was a trilogy until this movie. And it follows the James Bond formula, where the actor signs on for X amount of movies, and then they get a new person to play that very same role. Let's see, Jesus. I'm looking at my 2006 yearbook right smack dab in the face, and I could point out, like, everybody I would fuck. Reason being, like, I have them checkmarked. Some I don't agree with anymore. Well, not so much. I don't know about, there was like a Catherine Messina or something. I don't know. Amy Goldstein. Let's see, Nicole Moust, or Moust, however you pronounce it. I remember literally being in study hall, and, her sharing photos with a friend of Halloween, and she was wearing one of those quote-unquote naughty outfits. I think it was a nurse or something, and I should have taken the initiative to, like, hey, can I check those out? I remember there was this one dude, like, everybody called him Jesus, because, like, if you look at, Catholic pictures of Jesus and stuff, the dude is like a carbon clone, but he's got longer hair, and I think he played, like, electric guitar. And I love how this video went from the shit of psychological placements to a very positive, wow, that is a very hot and attractive person. Let's see. There was someone named Amy. I think, like, AIMEE or something. What is it? God, I can't remember these. Oh, there was this one. She was a senior that very first year. I was in 9th grade. Ellen Caparosa. There's no way she's not Italian. I'm Italian, man. We could fucks with each other, man. Let's see. I have to say it. For anyone who watches my YouTube videos and is familiar with the Oakland School, class of 2009. Oh, great. I can't forget the girl. I can't remember the girl I dubbed my, what the hell what did I call her recently? Amber-haired Archangel. Yeah, that's definitely putting her on a pedestal. Stephanie Pinsky. Swear to God, if you or one of your friends watches this, just seriously call me. I am no Dave. I do not have the material possessions. I have heart and soul. I can't promise you I'm going to go take you out to Station Square or whatever and, buy you, like, the lobster cocktail or whatnot. But we'll spend more quality time. For people who knew that I dated, what's her name? Chelsea Lamb? Yeah, that one. The fuck is it? Just the angle. Point is, nobody else would touch her. Mike Rogers, if you're watching this, yeah, I absolutely did do what I told you I did to her. I don't know, I felt like she was like real sheltered and forsaken and nobody would talk to her. And I was like, fuck this, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna ask her out, you know? It ended real quickly because it felt like every goddamn time I was on the phone with her, it was like a therapy session. I'm like, shit, it's okay if you counsel, you know, your girlfriend or boyfriend, but I could definitely tell that there were, you know, a lot of areas of broken glass and psychological damage, and I was like, I'm not into this. And I guess that's why it pushed me into attempting to be a psychology major in community college. Now I have my, you know, book right in front of me, and I'm looking at things. There's, you know, choir and vocal training, voice acting. Albert Wesker approves of the voice acting. So does Stewie Griffin. It could use some work, but oh God, it sounds more English right now. Yeah, I mean, I can do that. Sing? I sing every damn day. Whether it's my own music, and believe me, I have it. I guess people think I'm a liar because I don't present it on YouTube. Present it to where, you know, everybody can access it. But that millions, I don't know, I just have like a billion song titles, you know, broken choruses and ideas. And to be honest, I try to outwrite huge bands like U2 and Linkin Park. And if I could come up with anything similar to Linkin Park, but still different and still carry my own unique identity within it, shit, I mean, I got like tons of bands and tons of solo artists, both from America and foreign, that I could, you know, not only take influence from, but make songs like. Supernova, my style, was just the beginning. I mean, I promise you that you're going to have to wait for my music, but when it comes out, it's going to be good. I'm really trying my ass off to not put out anything remotely bad, or like, fuck this is stupid, you know, that kind of video. So I guess this is just, if it has a message, I guess the message is, I'm a guy who can be honest about his life and his experiences. I mean, when I was talking about, you know, who I want to fuck, and, you know, especially the psychological placement thing, I was balling up, and if I would have gone into more detail and shit like that, I would have just had to turn the video off and done a part 2, or redid this whole thing. I mean, this is me. Fuck, I shave every day, and I still have a scraggly face. You know? Yeah, I shave my goddamn eyebrows because of my own little perfectionistic view of what I should look like. See this? Looks pretty neat. I mean, you see it. But then down here it goes down a little bit. It took me a shit ton of time to find what I like as a haircut. And that's just real short, not military short, but, you know, short enough that you really don't need to style it at all. And I got this fucking cowlick in the back that whenever I get a haircut like that, it's just an exposed patch of skin. where I found myself putting Sharpie and shit on, like, you know, brown and black, because my hair is dark brown, shit like that. Now, this video is getting a little too long, so I'm going to end it. But I'm going to give a word to anyone who watches this. I promise I'll deliver with the music and anything else that comes to my head. And I'm hoping that the people I talked about in the video can hear me and give me a response. I mean, they don't say YouTube it for nothing. I need to get that t-shirt, but whatever. I guess this is like true life. My name is Mike Carr. Oh no, I gave my last name over the internet. Believe me, if I were to give up my passwords, that would be revealing. So, peace, love, and clean the fucking chicken grease off your teeth, because we're gonna go into round 2 tomorrow with hot wings. The fuck? Come on.